So I became friends with this guy on Facebook, and he's ex-military. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says, but I do agree with a lot of what he says. And sometimes the military people, they have a leg up on understanding what's going on in the world because maybe they've worked in intel, or they just see like how all the pieces fall together because they have great knowledge of war and like history and that kind of stuff. And so this gentleman basically posted a picture of a man that he's some kind of figure in Israel, and he's basically saying that that land over in Ukraine is where they're going to set up the New Jerusalem. I mean, I don't know if you read Revelation, but it says New Jerusalem comes down out of the heavens. It doesn't come from just a piece of land. But we won't talk about that right now. I looked into it a little bit more because I was like, why Ukraine? Like, what is the purpose of this? And literally, I looked up the Caucasus area because I was like, well, they're Caucasus people, aren't they? Like, you know, when people do their DNA and it tells you the places that it leads you back to, I started thinking about, well, Iran and Russia and Germany. And then all of a sudden, something on the internet pops up about the Khazars. And I was like, Khazars? Yeah, there is that belief that they descend from the Khazars and they were grafted in. So I looked up where KHAZARIA was. And it happens to be where the Ukraine is. Wow. Wow. So I was like, all right, well, there it is. These are KHAZARIANs. The Bible says that people are going to go back to their native lands, and you know, it also says that Jerusalem will be treaded down by jackals and Gentiles, which, you know, the whole time in that area there's been a huge cube of Allah and all these Muslims and, you know, non-believing quote unquote Jews and that. And then you have the book of Enoch that talks about the judgment of Edom and Esau. And here I'm thinking Edom and Esau is basically just like the Romans and the Greeks. But the book of Gad the seer says it's Ashkenaz and Sepharad. Who is that? Just who the Bible says. Genesis, what is it, 10:3? Ashkenaz is the grandson of Japheth. So there's probably some mixture going on there as well, because you know, if you're Esau, you're not necessarily Japheth. So I found that remarkable that the book of God the seer is calling these so-called Jews Esau. And it makes a lot of sense because who was Esau, the brother of Jacob? Like, and in the book of God it's talking about how they said that they replaced the Jews and that they knew the father and the son's name. But then the father was like, you're crazy. I'm going to judge you for thinking that you can replace my people. And he's going to judge them. So there they are, headed back to KHAZARIA after being grafted in. To basically set up the one world government under their false messiah. I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, I've been asking the Father to reveal these things to me because I just don't understand. And when you don't understand something, you can just ask the Father for understanding and he will give it to you. So, plot twist, we're waiting for what's going to happen next, basically. I mean, we're at the end of days and people have been having crazy dreams about things that are going to happen. And you know what? Those things are going to happen. The devil has been trying hard to try to put it in my mind that maybe it's just a spiritual thing. Like this guy yesterday, he brings up the black sun. I didn't say anything about a black sun, but he wanted to tell me that, oh, you know, it's just metaphorical and it's just spiritual, this whole black sun thing. I didn't say nothing about a black sun. But when people have the spirit of the serpent or the dragon in them, they're given the same mind. That's what the Bible says. They have all been given the same mind. They think the same things and they say the same things because they work for the devil. That's the mind they've been given to try to deter you off into another direction. This whole black sun thing is not fake. This whole end of the world thing is not fake, and it's not only spiritual. These people are going to go under. We're talking about war in the sky, okay? We're talking about asteroids falling from the sky. I had a dream that there was a giant tsunami coming. And it was crazy because, like, I said, that tsunami wave is big, and I'm over here hanging out on the beach. Why am I doing this? And then I started praying, and it was like the water went up to like calf length, and that's it. The Father was protecting me. So, and he's protecting anyone that's his children, that's doing his will, and whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So you have these kinds of things are coming. It's going to hit the East Coast. It's going to hit California. You know, a lot of these places are going to go underwater. This is the judgment. And we, as much as we want to say we don't deserve this, what did we do to deserve this? Just talking to people every day makes me realize how much humanity deserves to be wiped off the earth. I literally talked to this guy the other day, and I thought he was so kind and so nice. But then he started doing the same thing as the guy that was talking about the black hole sun, using divination and that to try to gain some kind of whatever. People are propping up wicked people, talking about you shouldn't judge a witch. Do you think that you were somehow doing God a favor by saying that? Because he said it's an abomination to condemn the righteous and to judge and to uphold the wicked people. That is abomination. You know what else he says is abomination? Homosexuality. So he's putting condemning the righteous on the same level as homosexuality. That's kind of crazy. So you need to watch what you're doing. Stop falling for all this don't judge stuff. It's not true. He said judge righteously. Don't judge by appearance, but judge righteous judgment. That's what he said. And he said, be aware of the times that we're in. The devil's going to come as the angel of light. He's going to try to deceive even the elect. And so I have all these people coming up to me, and they're all like, we're just supposed to love. And I've been reading the Bible. And like, this is how they do with their little magic fingers. I've been reading the Bible. And, you know, you're not even supposed to judge homosexuality. And you're supposed to just be nice to people and all this kind of stuff. And I don't disagree with being kind to people. But at the end of the day, when you're just telling people the truth and they think you're being mean, what's going to happen when you're not telling them the truth and you're being nice? You're going to get judged for lying or not telling the truth and not warning this person, and they're going to get in trouble for their sin. So you need to think about what God desires, you know. Anyway, interesting things going on in this hour. I'm praying in the mighty name of Emmanuel for your protection, guys out there. I'm praying that you do not get deceived in this last hour, because the devil is coming with all these false signs and wonders, these quote-unquote revivals. And the more I started to pray to the Father about it and ask him to reveal the truth to me, the more I started to realize, like, oh shoot, this whole system is false. Like, this church system is even false. You know, he talks about in Ezekiel how his people are worshiping Tammuz. And this is what's going on in a lot of these churches. They are worshiping Tammuz, the sun god. His name is also Mithras. He was born on December 25th, and his birthday is very much the day of Christmas, as they put it. And then they try to make excuses about that. You should worship Jesus every day. But here you are practicing Christmas. So stop making excuses concerning that. Because really, the birth of the Messiah is represented by, I believe, I want to say it might be represented by tabernacles, but I could be wrong, because I've also heard that's the wedding supper of the Lamb, but I've also heard Pentecost is the wedding supper of the Lamb. So I don't know exactly, but he definitely did not celebrate Christmas, and neither did the disciples. And then his mom is Ishtar. Like, that's who the bunny is, the bunny for Easter, and you're practicing that. That's what you're doing. You're mixing the holy with the unholy, because you were told by your pastor that these are these celebrations that we do because the Catholic Church has been doing it. Even though you hate the Catholic Church, even though they pray to dead saints and Mary, you're still doing their practices. You are Catholics. You are Esau. You're giving up your birthright for a bowl of lentils, fake religion. That's what you are doing. And many of these people have the spirit of Esau in the first place, you know, because they're not really trying to do what's right regardless. I mean, I talk to them all the time in this progressive Christianity group. I'm like, they just out here trying to kill people. They out here thinking they smart. And that's exactly what the book of Gad the seer says. Now we know God, and God has replaced his people, and we're so wise. It literally says that in the book of Gad, that how these people talk, and that's exactly how they talk. So this is Esau, these people, they're Romans, they're Greeks, you know. But to be fair, Esau and Jacob, they made up, because I don't know, maybe God worked on Esau's heart. I'm not really sure, but that's how the plan seems to go. So I can't be that mad, you know. I'm mad, but I'm not that mad, because I feel like God is a great redeemer. But yeah, check out those pictures. I mean, this is the end. We're in the end. Ask the Father where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to be doing, because There's all sorts of narratives today. Anyway, you guys be blessed and have a good one. Bye.